family patterns. So myself, I was raised by a very abusive mom. So my mom taught me that yelling and screaming and hitting was her love language, her own version of love language. So as I got older and I left the house and I started dating, I would date men that were like my mom. They would badmouth me, put their hands on me, did whatever my mom did, because that's all I knew what love looked like. And sadly to say, when you're a child and you're raised by your parents teach you, or your parental figures teach you what love looks like. And this is something I had to deal with myself, is understand, like, if you just don't know, you don't know, you know? Sometimes we'll tell women, like, why are you keep dating the same guy over and over again? But a lot of times if you look at her life and you look at how she was raised, the culprit most likely is going to be one of her parental figures treated her that same way, and she hasn't dealt with that yet. So family patterns is a big big reason why women date jerks or mean guys, is she hasn't dealt with that trauma. She hasn't healed it. She hasn't even figured out that that's not healthy. And if we don't take the time to heal that within ourselves, we're going to subconsciously chase men who reflect a parental figure that we haven't forgiven yet, that we haven't healed from yet, that we haven't even woke up and realized that's not what love looks like, you know? Like, I had to go through a lot of counseling, talk to a lot of counselors, and trauma counsel, and do a lot of healing work. I mean, I went through my initiation processes and started getting into religious practices to unlearn a lot of things. When you're abused by a parent constantly and constantly mentally, emotionally, or physically abused by a parent, it's really hard to shake when it comes to your romantic life. It's really hard for you to understand what it means to be in a healthy relationship that's not consisted of being yelled at, being talked down to, being cussed out, being hit, or being emotionally neglected, or whatever the issue is. So one of the main reasons why a lot of women do that is because it's trauma. They don't know any better. They haven't healed. Sometimes they know they need to heal and they haven't taken the steps. Sometimes they're oblivious. Like, they don't even understand that that's not normal. And because sometimes when you're raised in a toxic family, you normalize it. You think it's normal to be screaming and yelling at your kids. You think it's normal for you and your man to be screaming and yelling at each other, and it's cussing at each other, talking down to each other and stuff, instead of talking to each other. Or some people even normalize cheating. Some people normalize, I mean, I've seen videos on YouTube going viral of, like, men hitting women and people are laughing at it. This tells me there's trauma going on where you normalize things and you're like, oh, this auntie so-and-so, whatever, and uncle so-and-so always do that. This is normalizing toxic patterns. So when you're raised in a family like that, then you're going to habitually be with somebody who reflects that pattern.